Here are the color samples. Made quite a few. These are the winners. Just for reference, this is what we're shooting for, something that gives us this kind of a vibe. I've divided these into cohesive groups that work together and titled them transparent, translucent, distressed, opaque, non-metallic. And this down here isn't a group. It's kind of an alternative to the color that was most successful when casting. One way we can go about this, now this metal piece here, normally made, would be fairly transparent. So we want to ask, do we want to take that feature and push it over to these two? So they all kind of have that transparent to them. And you'll, see just a lot more play as you walk around and see the frame and things through the mesh stretch. So this would be the most transparent. This one we're going to call transparent. You can see when you do transparent casting for metal, what you'll do is you'll just kind of brush the mold and you get kind of a slightly distressed, almost amber-like kind of ideas in there. You can blend it into the material, but when you stir the material, it looks more like that. So if you want super transparent but with color, you actually have to only put it on the mold. So you get some of this kind of distressed stuff. And like I said, it looks very much like kind of like an amber. It's got some little artifacts in there. So next would be translucent. Now this is when, you're stirring it a little bit and you get a little bit more capture. So your metallics are floating in there as it's curing. So, that's a little bit pure look. And this one was half done. It kind of floated to the one side, but in general, this is just hardly any. If you look at this sample here, you can see that there's really nothing in there. It's just, there's not much going on other than just a little bit of suspended material. Now, this is distressed here. This is where we do the mold surface with the metallic, but then after it's cast, we sand it. So you get a little bit more of a matte. Let me get this focused. A little more matte and a little more on and off. You can see how you'll have the edges revealed. Let me see. Let me turn this one. It's kind of a weathered type of a thing. So if you like that, that's a little bit more kind of a rough look. And this is getting away from things that sparkle as much. This is a more of a like an opaque reddish color. It's got just a tick of sparkle in it. This is suspended Venetian gold and opalescent, and this has got, I think, this thing called stone gray and gold, and that made a nice combination. Now, I don't remember what metallic this was, but it was the one that was hitting best. Some of those kind of turned purpley brown during casting, and it just wasn't working. This here is one of the bronzes that I think is pretty, but it comes off. This is one that we picked, and you can see how much it changes when you cast it. I'll bring it over to the thing. These are hard to pick up. You can see it's just a little browner. Well, the camera's back. The camera wants to make it yellower and oranger, but in person it's browner than that. So if you want a little bit less copperiness and more kind of a dull bronze neutrality, we could do any of these finishes up here only using this metallic. Now this one here, instead of using the stone gray tint, is using umber, and it comes off dark. You can see like it would work as a dark, but it's more of a brown, not a charcoal type of a vibe. So that's pretty much it. The question would be is how do we want to, what kind of strategy do we want? Do we like this idea of almost like these crystalline pieces on the wall? A little bit crystalline, seeing through, but has a little bit body to it. Do we like crystalline kind of distressed? Or let's just get away from all this see-through stuff. And these would be see-through when they're thin. For instance, you see in this original here, like let's say that thin spot, that's actually just the thinner the resin, the more see-through it becomes. So if we went with these, it would be see-through in the thin spots and more opaque in the thicker spots.